Hey, what's going on, everybody? Stock Catcher here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some potential stocks. If you're new to the channel, I highly recommend you subscribe and join the team. So today there was a lot of opportunity again, as usual. Today, INTS, this stock, I mentioned it right near the beginning when the news came out. This ended up just ripping 400, I believe it was 400%. That was a massive move. And then BQ, this was a Chinese stock. I mentioned in the morning time, right, that Chinese stocks are going to be really hot. And then this one just ended up just making a really nice move. And then after hours, there were some really nice plays as well. NLSP as well as BENF, they ran over 100%. So today I'm going to be talking about some potential swing trade ideas as well, right? Because for my videos, basically, they're mainly swing trade ideas, and what I post in the daytime, they're day trade ideas. So I had some people confused, right? So today, the first stock that a lot of people actually hit me up, I believe like 3 people told me to look up VYNE. So VYNE is a bio company, and remember I said on Twitter that bio stocks, Chinese stocks as well as drone stocks, I think are going to be really nice swing trade opportunity. So this is a biotech, and basically if you look up the stock, they have potential catalysts as well, right? So one potential catalyst would be FDA. An FDA, basically, if you're new to trading or you don't know much about biotech, you have to remember the FDA, because oftentimes these companies, right, these bio companies, they release FDA type of news, and it makes a really big move up. Not every FDA news is the same though, right? For example, the biggest one you have to remember would be FDA approval, right? So a potential catalyst for VYNE would be FDA angle, as well as when it comes to biotech. Also, there's oftentimes partnerships or buyouts or these type of catalysts, such as contracts, right? So for VYNE stock, not just the contracts aside, speaking about technical wise, I was just looking up the stock, right? Because I'm telling you guys, I look up a lot of stocks that you guys message me or talk about. So if you have any other suggestions, just let me know in the comments or message me, right? So this one, I just pulled up the daily chart, and then this has a massive gap as well as really big range. So nice pick to the few people that messaged me. There was like 3 people. Next stock you have to watch, guys, would be SLDP. This is another stock that someone on the team, they recommended me to look up, right? And then this stock, I was just looking it up. And today they had really good news. It was in regards to Samsung, right? Samsung as well as BMW. So if you don't know anything about these companies, all you have to really know when you're talking about trading is that most of the time when a company, they have news with a well-known company, right? For example, yesterday, remember Starlink, right? So when you see a company like BMW or Samsung or Apple, it could create a big opportunity, right? So that's something you really want to remember for the future when you're trading, is that it's really important. So SLDP, I was actually making a video on this stock, and looking at it right now, it's actually moving up significantly. So if you want these trade ideas earlier, I recommend you join the live stream. A lot of people share nice ideas. So SLDP, looking at the stock, they have potential further catalysts as well, because this is a type of battery angle as well, right? If you watch my previous video, remember I talked about battery stocks as well as these mineral type of plays are going to be really big opportunity, as well as the EV, electric vehicle angle as well. I believe I made a video on NEO stock is a EV type of angle, right? So when we're talking about SLDP, this one, I want to see if it holds over that gap tomorrow, because right now it's gapping up. It's making a nice move up. So I want to see if this gaps up tomorrow or it ends up just round tripping, right? So that's SLDP. And then the next stock you have to watch, going off of the last one, would be CRML. This is critical metal. So this is another sector that I did not mention today on Twitter, but I highly recommend you watch, which would be metals, minerals, batteries, these type of stock. They pulled back quite a bit. If you go to the daily chart, they pulled back quite a bit, so it would create some potential opportunity, right, for swing trade setup. Because I said in the past, when it comes to swing trading, you want to get in at the best support areas or the best lower risk entries, right? You don't want to buy something, let's say, that's spiking 300% and then try to swing trade that, because it could create a massive downside. And I'm not saying that just because the stock makes a big move up, it's not going to continue higher, because oftentimes these stocks, like I said yesterday's video, remember CMBM, that stock ran over 1,000%. So they'll still go higher. But when you're swinging a stock up a lot, like 300, 500%, oftentimes what these companies will do is they're gonna do dilution, or they're gonna offer, in my opinion, right? So that could create a massive drop. And I'm speaking from experience. I've been in those times where, like, I was swing trading a stock, right? And then they would just drop an offering, or this was a long time ago, and then I would just lose a massive amount, right? So when you're talking about swing trading, you want to get in as best area as possible, right? I'm gonna be making more videos on swing trading in the coming weeks, right? The educational videos. I highly recommend you check them out. My educational content. So CRML, there's potential catalysts as well, right? So the next stock would be EDHL. EDHL is a China play. So if you remember what I said earlier, right? China stock are gonna get a lot of volume, in my opinion, especially during this time period. I'm speaking from experience as well in the past. Around this time, once it gets to around, like colder, Halloween, Thanksgiving, around this time, these Chinese stocks usually make nice moves. Not always, but usually. So if you look at EDHL's technical chart, and I apologize for the voice, today's a low again at like the old days, right? Because, today I'm recording at a different place, as well as using a different mic, right? So EDHL, this one is forming that multi-day setup. If you go to the 1 hour chart, this chart, it definitely does not look the best, to be completely honest with you. But EDHL is a China play that's been constantly getting some volume, as well as getting some hits, right? And when you're talking about the stock sector, is actually in fintech and digital asset. And if you don't know anything about that, all you have to know is that recently it's been a really hot theme this year, right? Remember, digital asset, as well as this type of fintech type of, these type of plays. EDHL, I believe, also has low float. Yeah, it is low float. It was only about 8 million float. So this one you definitely should add to your watch list or monitor. So next stock we have to talk about is JZXN. This is another China stock, right? JZXN is basically, again, this is more of those digital asset, Web3, this type of angle, right? So actually today they had news and ended up making a nice move up. I mentioned JZXN right when the news came out. Actually, you could check the time I posted it, and they made a really nice move. I think it ran 50%. I'm not 100% sure, but it was a nice move, I remember. And the news today was basically JZXN launched $1 billion Bitcoin treasury type of news, right? So there's another tip for you if you're looking at these news, right? Oftentimes when you see like a big number, it's going to create a lot of type of volume, right? So for example, let's say you see a billion or 500 million, you should pay attention to the price action, right? So that was, what stock was that? JZXN, right? So the reason I'm mentioning JZXN, despite it didn't really make a big move up, is that oftentimes what I'll notice is that when a stock drops news, there's really no action like after the big spike, right? But then there is possibility of it moving in the next couple of days, right? And that's something that happens pretty frequently, actually, for when a stock has news and then it makes a move up, and then it doesn't go crazy, right? It just kind of like consolidate, and then it just ends up going another day. So this is something you should watch. JZXN, right? So next stock, this is another one, China. China is very hot at this time period. So YDKG. YDKG This one I had many people actually ask about. I think I had 5 people asking about this stock YDKG. I remember I made a video on this stock a while ago. This was like 3 weeks ago or something like that, and then it made a really nice gap up. I remember it ran it ran in the morning time, I believe, and then looking at it right now, it didn't really move higher, but it's forming. I told the people that asked me about YDKG, I mentioned that 5 cent area, right? And you could check right now. Actually, it's making a nice move in after hours off of that 5 cent level. So your 5 cent will be a very nice base level. And when you're talking about the stock, actually it is a lot of range as well. And if you check my previous video, I talked about the fundamental angle. But the potential key catalyst, in my opinion, would be to basically, in terms of the contract renewal with their customers, right? So basically, because this is another one of those digital advertising, this type of tech service company. So YDKG, ideally it does need news, but again, these micro pennies under 25 cent, most of the times they move without even news. So pay attention to this one as well if it holds for that 5 cent level. So next one you gotta watch is AIRO. This is a drone manufacturer company. If you didn't read the news lately, right, the drone stocks are gonna have potential for opportunity. If you do a quick research, today there was news in regards to that, right, drones as well as the Doge, right. If you look up drone, it said that Pentagon's Doge unit to revamp military drone program. So we're talking about this stock. If this stock is a recent IPO, this was this year, and then it made a big move up, and then right now, look at it right now, it's at a really interesting level. Go to AIRO chart, it's right near that consolidation level over that $15 psychological support as well. And if you look at AIRO, let me double check the float. So this one is a low float, 6 million float is what I'm seeing, right? So the potential key catalyst would be order flows from NATO, U.S. defense contract potential, as well as just in general, these IPOs I said in the past, right? You could check, I talked about Figma, I talked about BLSH, bullish. These IPOs often they drop and just drop a lot and then they end up bouncing. So I'm going to be watching AIRO. Next one would be LitM. So LitM is a critical mineral mining company that is basically in uranium. So LitM actually recently, this was this month, October, they announced an acquisition deal in uranium nuclear fuel space. So there's potential catalyst for the stock as well for LitM. And if you look at the technical chart as well, LitM recently made a big move up. You could check the stock went from 475 to 743, and then it's right at the support area right now. So I'm gonna be watching LitM for potential as well, right? This is an interesting sector. Next stock is NovaBay. NovaBay is a bio company, right? Bio company focusing on eye care. So that is big market potential. And if you're looking at potential catalysts, this has potential catalysts in terms of new deals potential, or as well as margin improvement. So NovaBay would be an example of a multi-day setup candidate. It has to have more volume, but this is something that I've been keeping an eye on for I think 2 weeks. I'm gonna be monitoring the price action. So next stock would be TENX, 10X. So this is another bio stock that basically focuses on the heart failure, right? So when you're talking about TENX, this is more of a thin stock. If you don't know what that means, a thin stock basically means that it doesn't require a lot of volume for it to move, right? So this is something that you should monitor because, again, like I said in the beginning of the video, right? These bio stocks are really hot right now, and there's potential catalysts, I believe, for the stock, whether you're talking about phase 3 data or you're talking about potential licensing deal, right? So I'm going to be keeping an eye on TENX, and there's one last stock for the video that you have to pay attention to, in my opinion, which would be IXHL. So IXHL, I made a video on just, I believe, a few days ago. You could check. And then today, it made a really nice move. It was around 20%, I believe, right? So IXHL, this one actually had news today. And then I posted the news, right? And then after I posted it, it made a really nice move up. So to basically, I went over the news, right? And IXHL is planning to engage with the US Food FDA, basically the Food and Drug Administration, to define pivotal pathways. So remember what I said in the beginning of the video, right? When you're talking about biostock, FDA is a really big catalyst. And the company reported that it is now tapped into its ATM. ATM is basically at the market equity offering since it's been a few months, right? And when you're talking about IXHL in terms of the sleep apnea, right? They said that they showed up to 83% reduction in AHI in phase 2. So IXHL, this is a stock that usually has price action that causes it to fade. If you don't know what that means, that's when a stock makes a move up and then a round trip, it goes back to where it started. That's usually what I notice for IXHL. But today I've been noticing that the volume acceleration on top of the fact that it's holding over key level with the selling going down, right? The selling going down. And on top of that, this stock also is releasing news as well, right? So this stock is a high watch for me, considering that this stock could squeeze potential, in my opinion, right? Ideally, you do want to see the stock over 50 cent. That's a big psychological level, 50 cent break. And looking at the stock, there is resistance as well. 43 cent is a big resistance. But I'm looking about the stock because a lot of people, I'm telling you, keep messaging me about the stock, right? They say they like IXHL. And I made many videos on this stock and for that reason, and I recommend you check out my other videos. So I will be keeping you guys updated, so I recommend you subscribe, guys. So I hope everybody has a great night. And let's close out the last day of October nicely, guys. Tomorrow's the last day. It's also Halloween. I wish everybody happy Halloween, as well as have a great night, everybody. Good night, and Stock Catcher signing out. Good night.